it's Ghosty, and I'm going to be talking for a while because today we are learning about genders. I have found a gender iceberg while scrolling through Reddit, and there are a lot of them, so let's get into this. Quick disclaimer, if you are one of those dumbasses who says that there are only two genders, please leave after the first layer. Thank you! So the first layer is obviously male and female. But everyone knows what male and female are, and if you don't, what are you doing? Anyways, so here's the definition if you don't know. The second layer includes transgender, non-binary, and intersex. Transgender is when a person has a gender identity that is different than the sex they were assigned at birth, which is different than what most people say it is, which is like male to female, female to male thing. But it's actually a much broader term. I didn't know that. Non-binary, also known as genderqueer, is an umbrella term for people who don't fall into the gender binary, which is why their pronouns are they, them, because they don't fall into the gender binary. Anyways, intersex is when a person is born with several sex characteristics. This includes chromosomes, gonads, or genitals, which is kind of interesting. I don't know why, but to me it's interesting. The third layer includes gender fluid, two-spirit, agender, demigender, and bigender. Gender fluid is when a person's gender changes over time, so think Alex Farrow from Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard. Two-spirit is an umbrella term used by indigenous North Americans to describe people who gain a traditional third gender. Agender is another word for non-binary, basically, but not at the same time. It's when a person doesn't identify as having a specific gender, which is very similar to non-binary, but apparently it's not non-binary. I don't get that, but, I tried to research it. I didn't get it. And demigender is when someone feels a partial connection to a gender. For example, I'm a demigirl, which means my pronouns are she, they. I don't completely agree with me being a girl, but I also don't agree with me being non-binary, so I just gave myself both because I'm indecisive. But this doesn't mean that all demigender people are indecisive. It's just one of the few reasons that I'm demigender. Bigender is when someone identifies as both male and female, just like how being bisexual makes you into men and women. Being bigender makes you a man and a woman at the same time. The fourth layer includes butch, gender flux, gender void, boy, pangender, new choice, and androgyne. Butch is a gender inside of the lesbian sexuality. So when someone says they are a butch lesbian, this means they identify as a masculine female. I think that's kind of what it said in the articles. It didn't really tell much. It just kind of kept telling me that butch lesbians are just masculine, feminine lesbians. So that's what they are, apparently. I'm not helpful, am I? Okay. So, gender flux is a person who experiences a range of intensity with their gender identity. So, it means that I don't really know what it means. I've tried to research. But all I know is that the range of intensity means they can feel partial to one gender and then partial to another, I think. I'm really not helpful. In the comments below, if you know what some of these means, and if I got it wrong, please do correct me, because that'll be great, because I'm not the brightest, if you haven't already guessed that. Gender void is an identity defined by the lack of experience with any gender, which means they feel like there is an empty space where the knowledge of their gender should be, or they can't experience a gender. Oh, that's a little sad, actually. Boy is easy. Boy is just slang for gender or sexual identity, but no one ever uses that. They use it for, like, hate, like, boy. I'm not helping. I'm not funny either. I should just shut up. Pangender is like pansexual, but with genders. Pansexual is like anyone based on personality. Pangender likes/would like to be all genders as long as they understand them. Neutros shares a lot of similarities with agender. Most neutral people say they are genderless, neutral, gendered, or both. Androgyne is when people are masculine and feminine at the same time, but it isn't in equal amounts. The fifth layer includes xenogender, autism gender, gray gender, gender fawn, metagender, gender fae, trigender, and nanogender. Xenogender is an umbrella term for genders that don't have any characteristics that relate to male or female. Autism gender is when your gender experience is influenced or linked to your autism. Gray gender is when a person knows they have a gender, they just can't explain it or they aren't interested in it. Gender fawn is kind of like gender fluid, except they never, get the feeling of femininity or, the female gender at all. Metagender is when someone doesn't identify with their birth, but isn't transgender, so kind of like non-binary, but not. Gender fae is the opposite of gender fawn. This means they never really get the feeling of masculinity or being male. Trigender can mean two different things. One is a person who identifies in a third gender category, or two, a person who feels they are blending of three genders. I'm terrible at reading scripts. Nanogender is when someone identifies a little of one gender, but mostly another or others. The sixth layer includes gender what, zerl, egg, a random noun or adjective, Zoe, anti-gender, I have no gender, so please don't refer to me, the girl reading this post, iliogender, gender over gender, and using it pronouns. Most of these in this layer are self-explanatory. Anyways, gender what is the inability to understand gender or having a gender. Zerl is when someone identifies as a non-binary girl. Egg is the term for someone who's transgender but hasn't noticed it yet. A random noun or adjective is fairly explanatory. What? I can't speak. Zoe is when someone identifies as a non-binary boy. Anti-gender is the opposite of an existing gender. So if you are an anti-girl, you are the opposite of female but not male. I have no gender, so please do not refer to me, again, is very self-explanatory. The girl reading this post is from those Instagram posts that say the girl reading this post is insert compliment here. I can't give compliments. It's a problem I have. Iliogender. Okay, voice. Iliogender is when someone has a tangible gender presence, as in they are not male, female, or non-binary, or any of the other genders. It is a gender defined by its own existence. Gender over gender, I genuinely could not find anything on. I had tried any possible way to look up a gender. I even tried the gender wiki, for God's sake. And, there was nothing. There wasn't a flag, there wasn't anything. So, using it pronouns. Again, it's very self-explanatory. So, anyways, thank you for watching. This took a couple days for me to finish. It's only at 10 minutes for you, but like it took a while for me. If you like what you're seeing on the screen right now, please check out my Instagram. Link will be in the description below. And please don't forget to subscribe or like the video, but only if you want to.